I'm going to explain to you the grids. This is something that we use pretty often on your site, especially in these banners. You can see um, that Russian by birth, American by choice, it doesn't go all the way across this banner. It kind of cuts off right here. And that's an example of a banner or a grid being used. So basically the grid is a container that makes the text only take up a certain part of the full width. Um, so yeah, all of the banners use some form of the grid. You can also see a good example of the grid on the tickets page. Down here we've got these 3 columns. So that's another instance where your grid is telling this text to only take up 1/3 and this text to only take up 1/3 and so on. So I'm going to explain to you how to do this using the style guide that we made you. And again, this division here is kind of the idea of grids. So like in this case right here, this text is being told by a grid to only take up 1/2 of the full width. And then again over here, 1/2. And then I've shown you, if you scroll through the style guide, that you could do 1/3, 1/3, you could do quarters, and then you could do any combination. You could do a quarter and then 3/4 if you wanted to put an image here and then have a text that takes up 3/4, or reverse that. Really, it's totally up to you, and it's completely customizable. But let's just go ahead and I'll show you how to create grids doing this half-half. That's probably the easiest way to explain it. So we'll go to our visual editor, and I'm going to scroll down on this style guide until I see our grids. There they are. Okay, so here's what I did. To create this division of half-half, I'm just going to copy this text. I took some text that was just plain formatting, nothing special about it. So you can take any content and you're going to highlight that. And then if you remember from our training, this is that grid button. So you're going to click the grid button, and then you're going to drag this bar across to that 1/2 line. So it's kind of like a little benchmark. And you want mobile to always be at 100. So desktop and tablet, you put at your 50, and then mobile you put at 100. And click update. Okay, so now you can see that that is now only taking up 50% of the screen. And now if you want to create a text right next to it that takes up the right half, you do the exact same process actually. You're going to want to take some text, like I did here. And in this case, text anything that's below this box is going to automatically be popped up to this right-hand side, because this is kind of like an empty section of the screen. But if you want to really force that and make it happen using grids and not just by default, you'll do the exact same thing. Click that grid button and drag your benchmark all the way to 50 for those first 2, and then 100 for mobile. Okay, and that's it. It's really as simple as that. If you wanted to do thirds, you could go back into these ones that you've done 50-50 and click that grid again. You can see when I click down here that grid box is not highlighted, but the second I click into some text that has a grid, it is. So you can go in and let's say you want to make it 33%, which would be a third. You can do that. Now this is staying at 50, but let's say we wanted to do a third for that as well. And then we could add a third column, just like that. Sometimes it's a little tricky to get to 33. And there you got your 3 columns. So you can use grids to make any divisions that you want, whether it be several columns, or even just like with the banners, we usually are using just one grid to isolate all the text on one side of the screen. So I'll show you, like for this Edvards, we probably, this looks like about 60% here, so we probably told all of this text to take up the left 60% of the screen. And I'm just going to show you really quickly that you could also do this with an image. So let's say you've got 2 columns of text, and then next to those you want there to be an image. Like we told you, you could add an image using your Add Media button. Let's say we want to put, let's find a smaller image. All right, let's put that in there. Okay, so again, it automatically pops up to that empty space on the screen, but we can put an image in a grid as well to make sure it stays there. Using, I'm going to use 33 again, and there it is. So that kind of becomes your third column, if you will. All right, Todd, I hope that's not too complicated. Definitely feel free to give us some feedback if you need any more guidance on grids. Thanks.